TVs never look better, right? The answer to how we got here is a little more complex than streaming budgets. And besides, where can we go now? Should TV be trying to rival cinema? Big franchises have been hopping between the TV and the silver screen for over 50 years. Commissioners are no longer scared of serialized storytelling, as they were in the late 90s and early 2000s. And budgets of individual episodes can be the same as or more than a mid-tier feature film. In my opinion, more opportunities for filmmakers of any craft to tell more stories in any format is always a good thing. Digital filmmaking means that the production techniques of TV and cinema are becoming increasingly similar, so filmmakers can transition between them more easily than they could 40 years ago. It's great that there are resources in the industry to attempt TV shows of this scale, while conventional mid-budget shows still have a valuable place. It's also important to remember that the two mediums are designed to tell different kinds of stories. However, I think the assumption that spending a feature film's budget on a TV show will always visually achieve the same thing is one that needs challenging. Expensive, good-looking TV shows are nothing new. Taking an obscure example, 1983's The Thornbirds arrives during a heyday of network-commissioned television miniseries to universal critical acclaim. This 4-part drama cost around $21 million. For context, Return of the Jedi, which came out in the same year, cost around $35 million, only a third more. Then came Star Trek: The Next Generation, a show which drove a bus through audiences' low expectations of science fiction television. It revolutionized the genre and helped kill off a certain, more economically restricted sci-fi serial being produced across the pond. TNG cost around $1.5 million an episode, averaging out at around $30 million for a season. Doctor Who never stood a chance. Both of these shows look great at the time, have aged well, and raised the bar within their genre, thanks to strong creative visions furnished with unprecedented budgets. Neither of them, however, were visually competing with feature films of the time. But it wouldn't be long until someone tried. It took two of the biggest names in Hollywood, Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg, to make it happen. HBO's Band of Brothers is the story of Easy Company, from their training in 1942 to VJ Day in 1945. It has a large ensemble cast, many of whom would become A-listers 10 years later. The story needed the visual scale of a feature film with the runtime of a television miniseries. Over the 10-hour show, the visual style established by Spielberg's Saving Private Ryan transitions seamlessly to the small screen. I would argue that it's the first television series to look genuinely indistinguishable from its cinematic contemporary. Small wonder, given that it cost $125 million, nearly twice as much as Saving Private Ryan. The new budget bar set by HBO is now regularly surpassed by dozens of shows. Game of Thrones, Stranger Things, Disney Plus's Star Wars and Marvel series, and most notably Amazon's The Lord of the Rings: The Rings of Power, each season of which has a budget equivalent to Peter Jackson's trilogy when adjusting for inflation. And yet, a common criticism of these shows is that they can often look a little soulless, sometimes mass-produced, not cinematic. Now, there are exceptions, I'd cite Andor, but often the large budgets aren't allowing these shows to artistically transcend their format. All of these big budget shows have great production design, strong visual effects, and talented casts. But I think there are lessons to be learned from Band of Brothers, or more recently Andor, if you want your series to feel like more than just a series. Both of these shows had something that money can buy you, but won't guarantee you: a bold, cohesive vision. The various writers and directors had feature film source material to draw inspiration from and inform the show. I'm not suggesting that every big budget TV show needs a feature film to copy, but cinematic does not mean expensive. It means deliberate visual storytelling, which to work on TV must be paired with equally strong writing. If a big budget show feels bland, it could be because it came with all the trimmings of a feature film, but none of the spark. In essence, a TV show having a large budget does not guarantee that it will look like a film. However, this also means that your TV show does not need to be expensive for it to feel cinematic.